How's it going, everybody? It's the CDH Warrior coming at you with another episode on how to stream. So today we are going to be discussing the Nintendo 64. So I remember this console from my childhood, kind of a little bit before I grew up in between the GameCube and the 64 coming out and the GameCube. So I remember the 64 quite a bit. Games like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, things like that. We will show how to play Majora's Mask because it does not work quite the same way as a standard 64. You had to have an extra piece for it to work. I have the extra piece. I actually purchased it. And I have it right here. I had to get it mailed to me because it was nearly impossible to find. This little cartridge is called a memory expansion pack. You have to have it for the ability to play Majora's Mask. It actually says so on the box. Expansion pack required. But that will be next week's. Well, I state that'll be next week's. That'll be 2 weeks from now. Because next week's we'll be showing how to play off of... Oh, I'm losing games. How to play off the NES, Super Nintendo, and... I can't show how to play off of Famicom, but I do have the option to show that. No, it's not the Famicom. It's the Genesis that I've got the option to play off of. But we'll get to that later. We'll get to that over the next 2 to 3 weeks. To start with, we're going to show how to stream off the 64. So the 64 is a bit similar to how, like, the GameCube and others had to be recorded from. Because I'm primarily one that I live stream, but I wanted to show that you can record off of it as well. So I have Mario 64. It's an older game that has been remade, and even now the graphics still hold up. Wow. Back when the rating system was odd. I don't know if you can read the rating system. KA, kids to adults. This game was made back in the 90s. I think 96. Yeah. Copyright 1966. Or 1966. 1996. Good grief. I'm not that old. My childhood was in the late 90s. Late 90s, early 2000s, so the GameCube, the 64, things like that were pretty standard for me. I was not originally introduced to the NES. I grew up during the era with, like, this is a PS3. I don't have it, but the original Xbox, things like that, were more my childhood. Really, that was really more when I was a teenager when they did these. The original Xbox is more when I was younger. But anyway, enough about that. You all wanted to see a tutorial. I'm pretty sure you all came to see a tutorial on how to stream off the 64. Which you can do. You can stream and record it. It's not going to tax your computer out the wazoo. Let me pull this up so you can actually see this part. So, settings-wise, not a whole lot you're going to have to mess with, just some general settings. I'll stream just off a single scene instead of the I'll just record this. It says I've only got an hour to record, but that makes sense. I need to get a new external drive anyway, so that makes sense. So, back to the whole thing about the 64. Let me show you how to set it up to begin with, because I just showed you that it will work. I mean, I can turn it on and get a picture. So now you've seen this part, although that's a little too far before. Let's go ahead and show the setup of it. So what you're going to need is an AV to HDMI converter, the AV cord that comes with the 64, one HDMI cord, one capture card. I have an AverMedia. And apparently my AverMedia just went haywire. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. The cord came undone. Anyway, so you've got, it will only pretty much work with an AverMedia or some oddball knockoff capture card. You cannot do this with an Elgato. I guess you could do this with an HD60, but it would be a stretch. I at one point had an HD60S until I realized I could not play off the PS3. Just because you cannot run it as a HDMI, it has to be run through an AV connection. So, that's the price we pay. I have not tested other capture cards outside of the AverMedia and the Elgato. If anybody has, please let us know down in the comments on how it worked for you. But, without further ado, I've shown you the basic setup. I have the original expansion pack. I'll find a way to get it out at some point. But it's not super easy. Here we go. Here is the booster pack. Now, I want to show you the difference between the two because I'll have to show this to you anyway next week. So, this is the booster pack. And this is the memory expansion. Note the difference between the two. So, with that out of the way, you're going to need this, not this. This may ruin the game, I'm not sure. I have not tried. But you do need this to play Majora's Mask. Now, back to the console. Let's put this back. And I'm putting all this back together. So, So 710, that was, anyway, that was the stream of Ocarina of Time. But anyway, we're going to show how to record, and that you can record off a 64. So, this is kind of a this has been less than 15 minutes that I've gone through and shown you how to set it up. Which is not all that bad, to be honest. Especially for a console like this. Now, simple things, you're going to have to make sure your AV cord is connected. This is your... I can get it out. This is what the old electrical packs used to look like. Okay. And your remote. Now, the one thing that I do not have on this thing is the rumble pack. To be honest, that's not relevant to this or for this game, so we'll be working on that to begin with. But for those looking for some nostalgia, this is a pretty good console. So we're going to go ahead and flip the switch to turn it on. And I'm going to show that you can record off of this. I figured you all would like to hear the sound. The original Mario theme. And your red button in the center is the start button. So we'll go ahead and start recording while we're at it. We're going to press start. Somebody had a lot of fun with this game. Yes, this game was used. If somebody can find me a new variation of this game, we're going to start from the beginning with this. They did remake this recently for Switch, along with the Shine sprites, along with Super Mario Sunshine. So her name was actually Princess Toadstool and not Princess Peach, although everyone knows her as Princess Peach. Man, the graphics still hold up. I know I'm watching this in 1080, but the graphics still hold up to this day. It's honestly amazing. Press A to jump, B to attack. Now I've got to remember how to move. I remember why the 64 had some issues, because the remote, even for my hands as an adult, is a little bit awkward. I understand why they did this. A to jump, Z to... Okay, the Z button is on the bottom of the remote. Z to crouch, and B to grab. B to punch, read a sign, or grab something. Press B again to throw something you're holding. I did not know you could do that. So this is the very beginning, and as I said, the graphics hold up pretty well, considering the age of the game. We've been about 20 minutes. I'm going to try and record this part for about 10. Well, obviously I don't remember the controls as well as I used to. But this is a general explanation of how to record off the 64. No, the graphics aren't going to be perfect. You know what? They're not supposed to be. If you're playing a 64 for perfect graphics and trying to look through it through the lens of what we have today with, like, the Switch or the Xbox, it's not going to work. You're going to be sorely disappointed. But for those that actually understand the graphics and understand this was as good as they could get back in the 90s, the Lakito brothers pressing the C buttons. So the C buttons are these. With the R button. It's amazing. So welcome to Mario 64. The graphics still, like I said, the graphics still hold up to this day. I'm honestly surprised. I'm gonna play one level, I think. A bomb battlefield. Press B to talk. So this isn't too bad to be showing how things work. As I recall, you can jump. Nope, can't jump into it yet. Chain chomp. I never realized that the arrows point you where you're supposed to go. But anyway, this has been a general tutorial on the 64. How could I not jump that? I just now saw the board there. So, this is some nostalgia, and it's actually pretty good. Like I said, it's actually pretty good, all things considered. And this is not an emulator. This is not something that I've just randomly pulled offline. This is the original game. Well, we're not getting anywhere. But I think you all get the picture that you can record off of 64. I'm going to pause here. Stop. And I'm going to show you what we recorded, so you can show that it is recordable. Here is your video. So, like I said, next week we'll be showing The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask in all its glory. But I wanted to show that the 64 will work. So, I stream for an organization called CDH. I'm going to leave it off here. I stream for an organization called CDH Stars and Angels. We are a 501c3 nonprofit that helps children with congenital diaphragmatic hernia. If you could, please go check out our website at cdhstarsandangels.org or our Facebook page, CDH Stars and Angels. Of course, low FPS is detected. It's an older game. It's not going to be 60 FPS. This is YouTube Studio, but this is the main YouTube. It's my friend Mikey and I that do our weekly podcast, but we have a small group of streamers. If you could go check them out, they are. That's not what I wanted to do. I'm doing this one-handed, so. One of them is Bro Mikey Entertainment. He plays a lot of older games. He's showing some of the upcoming games like Mafia 4. He plays AC2. He shows some games off. Phone and computer. We've got Kaluski Man Gaming, who plays games like 7 Days to Die, American Truck Simulator, and a few other games. And then there's myself, who you saw my channel. All my recent videos. So last week I did not do a Zelda episode. I just ended up making a mistake on that, timing things wrong. But next week we're going to be showing how to stream off the NES, and the following week we will be showing how to stream off the original Wii. Yes, it's in the box because we moved and we are having to work on some minor things. But for the CDH Warrior, I'm Drew Monday, and I will see you tomorrow with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on Twitch, and I will see you again next week with an episode of how to stream using the Super Nintendo. Have a great week.